SaArah had always loved old houses. Their creaking floors and dusty corners whispered secrets to those who cared to listen. So when she inherited her grandmother's manor at the edge of the village, she seized the chance to move in. The villagers spoke of the house with lowered voices, their eyes clouded with the weight of old stories. They warned her, but SaArah was stubborn. On her first night, she lit a fire in the grand fireplace and sat down to read one of the many old books her grandmother had left behind. As the clock struck midnight, she heard it, a soft, almost imperceptible whisper. She glanced around, but found nothing amiss. The whispering grew louder with each passing minute, until it seemed to echo through the walls themselves. It was as if the house were alive, its old bones creaking in protest. She tried to ignore it, brushing it off as the wind or her imagination. But when a cold draft brushed against her neck, she couldn't pretend any longer. SaArah rose, following the whispers down a dark corridor. The walls seemed to close in on her as she walked, the air growing thicker and colder. She reached the door at the end, one she had never seen before. With trembling hands, she pushed it open. Inside was a small room, its walls covered in old, yellowed wallpaper. In the center stood a rocking chair, creaking back and forth as if someone had just risen from it. On the floor lay a diary, its pages worn and fragile. She picked it up, her heart pounding in her chest. The diary belonged to her grandmother, its entries filled with tales of sorrow and regret. It spoke of a curse, one that had plagued their family for generations. Each entry grew darker, more desperate, until the final one abruptly ended in a scrawl of ink. A cold chill washed over SaArah as the whispers grew louder, more insistent. She could hear her grandmother's voice among them, warning her to leave. But SaArah was rooted to the spot, unable to move. The room seemed to spin around her, the walls closing in. She felt a hand, cold, clammy, clasp her wrist. The last thing she saw before the darkness swallowed her was her grandmother's sorrowful eyes staring back at her from the rocking chair.